Welcome to Bourbon and Beats. This week's episode is a little bit unusual. My little brother Matt was in town, and I thought it would be awesome to have a short conversation about our mutual love of music while he was here. In other words, to have my very first interview on Bourbon and Beats. And while my intentions were good, we cannot have a short conversation because both of us are incredibly talkative. In fact, Matt's nickname in childhood was Matt the Mouth. So if you think I'm talkative, he's got me beat. So we couldn't have a 20-minute conversation about music. It ended up being a 40-minute conversation about music, which happens a lot when we get started on the topic. We tend to ramble on for a bit. So when I went back and looked at the footage, my intention was to edit it down to 15-20 minutes, the typical length of my episodes, but I just couldn't do it. There was nothing there that I felt like I wanted to trim out. So all 40 minutes of that discussion are here. And so I don't know whether to apologize or to say you're welcome for giving you 20 extra minutes at no additional charge. But here it is in all its entirety. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, no hard feelings. This week's guest, Matt Collins. All right, well, welcome this week to a special guest. My little brother Matt is here to enjoy happy hour in Eric's Juke Joint. And you might even see my other friend Ollie on camera. I'm not sure if he's showing up or not, but he's going to join us in the discussion today too. So my pour of today is Larceny, one of my favorite wheated bourbons. And Matt is drinking non-alcoholic beer as he abstains. So he will not be joining me in sampling this fine whiskey, but that's all right. We're going to talk mainly about music this week. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So you're my very first guest. Haven't had anybody join me. It's just been me talking every week. So it's a nice change of pace, and you know, we won't treat this like a formal interview. This will just be a chat like we would normally have.
Well, can I say that I've been really impressed with your show so far. I did not, I thought, man, my brother's going to do a show about bourbon and beats, and you know, and I know those are things you're very passionate about, but I've never seen you in this kind of way before. But I'm blown away. I'm enjoying it, and you're killing it. So well, keep doing it.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I do it mostly for me. You know, it's hard starting a channel from scratch, and not a lot of followers or views initially. But I told myself when I started, I made myself two promises. Number one, it's for me, something fun for me to do, and I've had a lot of fun. And number two, I was going to make a minimum of 10 episodes, no matter what.
Right.
Didn't matter how bad it went or what kind of doubts I may have. I was going to make 10 episodes no matter what. So this is episode 7, lucky 7.
In this digital time frame that we live in, there are some shows that I really got into from Netflix or whatever, but come to find out they were canceled like 8 years ago, and I'm never going to see. You know, some things take a little bit longer to take off, and the catalog's already there. Just keep rolling, man. Don't stop. Keep putting it out. And you know, when people catch on 5 or 6 years from now, they're going to have 3 years worth of content built up. You know,
in 5 or 6 years, we'll have 3 years of content.
I did flunk pre-algebra like 3 times, and why are we multiplying X's and N's anyway? Because those aren't even numbers. But,
right.
Yeah. So
well,
anyway.
We'll talk about something we both know a little something about, and that's music. So I shared with my viewers the moment, or maybe not the moment, but the era of time when music stopped being just background noise for me. That
Right.
you know, background noise in the car or whatever, and it was Saturday mornings or afternoons all the way through the day. Saturdays, Casey Kasem on the top 40 and.
Yeah.
Mom's little transistor radio from the kitchen. I would borrow it, bring it into the bedroom.
Yeah.
Borrow Dad's tape recorder, make mixtapes that way, and so that was when music was not just something in the background anymore, and became something that I made some choices. I had some likes and dislikes, and was there a particular time for you when that switch went off and it stopped just being background noise?
Yeah, I can't remember a time when music wasn't important to me because I've always looked at music in a deeper way than most people do. Growing up, we came from a spiritual household, and so a lot of the things that music represented were spiritual principles and things. And so even for me as a young child, when we're singing hymns in church or special music or whatever, and that's a charged word right there anyway, special music. But all the time growing up, music was always placed at a premium in our house. And so it was really hard not to have music really mean something to you. And you sometimes you're a little bit late to the party after the rest of us are already there anyway. So,
yeah, true enough. But yeah, once I got there around age 10, it was pretty big for me. Well, what are your earliest memories of pop and rock music? Maybe the first artist or the first situations or moments in time in your life when rock or pop artists, the kind of artists we discuss on this channel, became really relevant?
I will tell you that growing up we didn't have a lot of money, and we weren't poor by any stretch of the imagination, but we weren't rich either. And so the vehicles that we got were selected based on affordability, not on options. And I can remember that big, long, red Pontiac station wagon that we had. That thing, you could be in one zip code with the nose and the other zip code. It was long.
And it had the seat in the back that faced the other direction.
The vomit seat, yeah. You could sit back there and puke all you wanted to because you got sick. But yeah, that car, I remember, was a defining moment for me, because I can remember our mom had that cassette tape deck that she would put in the car. That car didn't have the option of a radio. And so we would be going down the road, and she had a little brown cassette case. And we could push that button in and lift the case top open and pick a case out. And I can remember Elton John being in there. I can remember Hall & Oates. I can remember Billy Joel. I can remember all those. And so, growing up with the Doobie Brothers and so many other great musicians and artists, that was probably my first real experience that I can remember. And I was so young then that, I couldn't have been more than 3 or 4. But I remember music being a very, very big part of our family even then.
Right. What about, so not at all asking this question because I want you to talk about me, because I'm here to hear your thoughts, but I can't skip over the question of what impact an older sibling might have. As I got to the party 4 years ahead of you.
Yeah.
And so do you have memories or observations of maybe when you noticed how important music was to me, and how that might even be unusual compared to other kids our age or whatever?
Sure do. I think it was...
Oh boy, I may regret this question.
Yeah, you open the door, brother. Here it comes. We actually were living, we had just moved to a new town. We didn't have any new friends there. We didn't have, a whole lot of social outlets or whatever. And I can remember you actually had your own bedroom. I had my own bedroom. And
For the first time in our life.
Yeah, I don't remember that ever happening before that.
That was the first time.
Yeah.
I was 11. You were around 7, I guess.
And we both had the freedom to decorate our rooms with whatever we wanted to. And I decorated my room with a hamster. His name was Petey. And Petey got lost I don't know how many times, and we had to find him in the house. But you decorated your room with something I just wasn't used to seeing. And had a lot of guys with makeup on their faces. And,
Yep.
and they were pinned up on your wall. And just the moment in time I started thinking, something else is going on with him with music than is going on with me, because I don't really, he's devoted to a lot deeper level than I am.
Yeah.
And that's you in a nutshell. Anytime you dive in, you dive deep. You don't hold anything back in anything you do.
I remember the bedroom was pretty well plastered with posters, and I would say 60 to 70% of them were Duran Duran.
Yep.
And,
Simon Le Bon.
Yeah.
Nick Rhodes, wasn't it? Or
Nick Rhodes, Simon Le Bon, and the three Taylors, John, Andy, and Roger.
Yep.
None of them related to each other. So you're stealing my thunder a little bit.
Sorry.
They are probably one of the next 5 or 6 episodes of Bourbon and Beats.
I would figure they'd had to been there pretty soon.
Yeah, and you mentioned the look and the posters. Probably that was pretty common with girls my age.
Yeah,
in
there's
that
New Kids
era.
on the Block, but I mean,
it was before New Kids on the Block, right? So all the posters and everything were real popular with the girls, of course, Tiger Beat magazine and everything, because all the girls, had crushes on them. For me, what it was, being a heterosexual guy, it wasn't crushes. It was I wanted to be them. That's what I wanted to look like. I loved the longer hair that we weren't allowed to have.
Right.
The kind of androgynous look, the fashion got my attention big time. The clothes that they wore in particular.
Not everybody can pull off spandex, but they were rocking it. I mean.
I don't think they did spandex much. That was a few years, like 3 or 4 years later, when all the
parachute pants were already out when we were there.
Yeah, and I had a couple of pair of them too. I remember. Yeah, but that was around that same.
By the time those were ready to hand me down to me, I wasn't about to wear no parachute pants.
That was a moment in fashion history that needed to come and go.
It did.
It was time for it to go.
It's all cyclical though, man. It'll be back.
Yeah, I had a black pair and a blue pair. I remember.
I never thought mullets would come back, but there they were.
Yep. Leather ties. I had a red leather tie. I don't know if you remember that thing, but anyway, it was a little difficult to be different, and I was definitely different when it came to the musical taste of the new school that we had just transferred to. By size-wise, we were already from a pretty small town, but we went from that pretty small town of maybe 9,000-10,000 people to just absolutely in the sticks.
Yeah, about 1,100, I think, is what. So
the bands that I enjoyed, that I'd gotten introduced to on the MTV, staying at my aunt's house, our aunt's house in particular, that I've mentioned on the program, we would watch MTV all night there. I would stay up all night watching MTV there. So all the bands I got introduced to and loved, Culture Club, Duran Duran, a couple of years later, Tears for Fears, those are bands that nobody in the new town had heard of at all, had any clue. There was no MTV in Franklin County, Tennessee, at that particular point. So it was definitely a little bit of an island to be on.
Yep.
So yeah, that I can remember. I can remember us discussing music from time to time.
We made music.
Yeah, we're not. We're gonna edit that out for the show, because I'm not gonna go into that story. We're not gonna explain that one.
Hey man, be transparent.
But yeah, it's So yeah, we definitely both fancied ourselves musicians, different or potential musicians at different points. But you actually learned how to play guitar, and
Yep. written a couple songs.
Yeah. Yeah, so you actually have a little more of the drive to actually learn how to play an instrument, but and we both can sing, but I would say neither of us is a virtuoso by any stretch, but we
Nope.
both enjoy it at least.
But see, that's the thing about music. It's not about how talented someone is. It's all about the expression of the art, and it's all about the feeling. I mean, the connection of, I might not be a top 40 radio guy, but me and somebody I've never met before can, for instance, I was telling you the story the other day about Julie and I and the kids, we all spent time in China as missionaries, and while we were there, I would take my guitar, I would take it out in the courtyard, and I would just start picking and grinning and singing. And I can remember singing Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead out there. And before I knew it, I had a whole crowd of folks that had just gathered around me, and they were smiling at me, and they were giving me something, I was giving them something. And that's just what music does, man. It transcends who we are, where we're from, and it touches us on a spiritual level. And I think that's why there's so much music incorporated in spiritual worship and all sorts of things like that. Matter of fact, one of the guys we're going to be talking about today speaks about that pretty regularly.
Really? All right. Well, let's start transitioning to that. So we're going to talk about Toad the Wet Sprocket. You're in town because we went to see them at the Charleston Music Hall last night.
Yep.
Do you remember, maybe not the first time you heard them, but how you were introduced to them? Maybe you do remember the first time. I don't know.
Well, it was the summer that I first got to drive. So I was 16 years old, and I have just started driving on my own, and that song was everywhere.
Which
that
song?
summer? All I Want.
Okay.
They came out with All I Want, and man, it was, you couldn't drive in your car 2 miles without hearing it on a radio station. It was just all the time and constant replay.
MTV also.
Yeah.
That one and Walk on the Ocean were on MTV regularly, and and your timeline matches up mine too, because I was newly married and living in an apartment and had MTV, and that would have been right around, I was around 20, and I remember, or maybe a little younger than that. Anyway, yeah, the somewhere around that time, and they were on MTV heavy rotation, definitely.
So I got my hands on a copy of that album actually from you.
It was the Fear album.
The Fear album, but it was a cassette tape, and I can remember borrowing it from you. And of course, it was one of them long-term borrows that became mine, and that's what little brothers do.
Because by then I had it on CD, so I didn't mind so much that you kept my cassette.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had the cassette tape, and man, I wore Fear out from front to back, flip sides, just over and over. And I just fell in love with the band at that point.
Yeah. I just revisited Fear recently. Obviously, we talk about vinyl a lot on this channel, and that's my preferred listening method. But my father-in-law gave me a 5 CD changer that to go with my Sony equipment I already had. It matched it perfectly, and I had asked him about it, showed some interest, and he wasn't using it, so he gave it to me back at Christmas. And of course, I hadn't owned any CDs in years, but I picked up a few, and Fear was one of the CDs that I picked up and started listening to it front to back again. I remembered, at least half the tracks vividly, because I have, some of them on playlists now. But there were some of the deeper tracks that I had kind of forgotten about. We're going to talk about a different album here in a minute, but still keeping on Fear, do you remember which one of the deeper cuts that wasn't maybe a hit kind of spoke to you?
Well, I can remember, I can tell you a story about one of the deeper cuts that happened to me real life. I was out on a first date with a girl, And like I said, I just turned 16, freedom to drive, had a really nice 1965 Mercury Comet Caliente.
Oh, I remember it.
And it was beautiful, sounded great. So I picked this girl up at her house, and red flag number one, her cousin came with her. And so then I wound up having to buy dinner for 3 instead of 2. And I realized something's not exactly right here, but I messed up. And I was listening to Fear on the radio, and Hold Her Down came on.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, and if you don't get
if
you don't
don't
get the reference,
understand
right?
that they are speaking out against that, you might think they're singing as advocates
Promoting
for that type
it,
of behavior. Nothing could be further from the truth,
No,
because it was a very special statement that they were making against it.
Yeah,
But she heard that, and she came unglued. And
the cousin, not okay.
No, the girl that I was
date.
supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah, and she asked me to take her home, and that was the end of that date. Last time we ever went out, and yeah, so that's a story about one of the deeper cuts there. Yeah.
So you didn't even make it to dinner.
No. They got their dinner.
Okay.
But Hold Her came on after we left.
See.
Yeah, no, they.
So for the benefit of the people who are going to be watching this and don't understand, this song is very much anti-violence against women, but it's written from the viewpoint of someone that's committing violence against women.
Right.
And that's not a new theme for Toad. Their very first single prior to the Fear album was a song I believe called One Little Girl is the title of the song, but it is about the same exact theme, only written from a different point of view.
I think Toad is very very active in expressing themselves and how they feel about certain issues in society and things like that, and I appreciate that about them. I may not agree with every point of view that they have, but man, I just love the fact that they're open about that.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the only song they have that has a curse word in it that I've heard. I don't know
Before
that
you were born.
Was it?
Yeah. There's some blasphemous language. What some people would term as blasphemous language in there. But yeah. But
yes,
to make a point, yeah. But yeah, that's I was just telling you yesterday, the deep cut that from that album that something to say is the one that I had totally forgotten about. And when I played that CD through, Jess and I were sitting in the front room with the Juke here, and as soon as the song got 3-4 bars in, I immediately turned to her and said, I always loved this one, and I've completely forgotten about it.
I love it.
This should be on some playlist or something. Yeah. So that's why I preach so much on this channel about listening to albums. We all remember the hits and the 2 big songs on Fear. That most people our age are going to know immediately the first few notes. But the deep. You have to listen to albums beginning to end because there's so much there that you may forget about because it wasn't on radio, or you don't have it on any playlist now,
right.
and you just forget about
They get
them.
forgotten, yeah.
And now that's probably my favorite cut on that album now.
Yeah.
So,
another one that was very unique on that album that I really enjoyed was Is It For Me?
Yes.
And it was just like, this
Through
is
the
a
door.
crazy story about Bradley getting his leg broke. Is there a deeper meaning here, or am I missing something?
I've always wondered if that's a real story. Something that happened.
I would love to ask the guys, hey man, did that really happen to one of y'all? Bradley's leg really did heal badly, or what's going on? Can he walk now? Is the guy crippled or what?
Or like we were talking about in the car today, they're longtime friends and have gone through a lot of things together. But that one definitely sounds like it's a real story, something that happened.
Sound like it.
With one of them or something. So let's talk about the show a little bit, and then we'll get into this album. What was your favorite part of the show last night?
Man, I loved it from start to finish. I mean, I've just loved Toad for so many years that um, I don't think, I mean, none of those songs surprised me. None of them were new to me. So, I mean, I didn't really have a favorite part, just being there. And I love watching, Todd and Neil and not Neil, Todd and Glenn and Dean. I love watching them. And I sure wish Randy Gus could still go around with them, because I loved watching him play. I mean, but they all are just seem like average guys, very approachable, kind. And matter of fact, you've actually approached one of them, or actually he approached you.
Yeah.
And he just a dude,
I guess I should, I could tell that, that Glenn song on camera. So just a few months ago, my wife and I were at a Glenn Phillips show, just him solo, just acoustic. So really small, intimate venue. And I got up to get another bourbon and went to the bar, came back, brought a bourbon for myself and my wife back, and realized I'd forgotten her water. So I just handed her the bourbons and went back to the bar. And as I was waiting on the bartender to get a water, I hear over my left shoulder, right on my left shoulder, "Excuse me, I'm not trying to pass, but I just want to grab a quick beer before I go on." And I turn and look, and Glenn is standing right here. Glenn Phillips, the lead singer of Toad the Wet Sprocket. So I stepped to the side so he can go ahead and order his beer, which was Elysian, by the way, if you're interested in that. And when he ordered his Elysian, after he placed his order, I turned and asked him, would you, while you're waiting on your beer, would you mind if I take a photo with you? So I'll throw that up in the edit so the viewers can see the photo. But you're right, he was a super cool guy, very, very laid back, and told some funny stories in between songs. It's refreshing when musicians don't take themselves too seriously, and they realize that they're human beings. The machine that is the record industry, particularly in the 80s and 90s, basically told these artists that they were, they were gods, and
larger than life.
Yeah, and a lot of them believed it, and their behavior showed it. But it's refreshing now. So many artists that we follow now, that we enjoy listening to, understand it. They get it, that they're just human beings that happen to have a talent that a lot of us don't, and a great opportunity.
One of the things I love about Glenn is he actually says that, for years, whenever they were getting into the industry, he worried that he was too fragile mentally to be able to be famous. And then he said, and then when it did happen, I realized I really was. And so I love his openness about mental health and struggles with that. You can hear it in all the songs, almost every single song, even All I Want. We look at that as a love ballad and everything. I honestly think that is Glenn saying, hey, I feel great right now, and I want it to stay that way.
Right.
I don't, tomorrow might be different, but I want this to be just like this.
Right.
And, of course, for all of us, it can't be that way.
Right.
But he's transparent, and I like that.
Yeah, definitely wears his heart on his sleeve. And I believe, and it is his voice that we're hearing speak with the lyrics most of the time, because I think probably 90% of the time he was writing the lyrics.
Yeah,
and
Dean and Todd help, but you're right. The lyrics are all him. I think.
Yeah, and I'll put a note on when I do the edit once I confirm that. But I'm pretty sure he writes a lot of the songs solo and brings them to the band. But even when he doesn't, I think it's nearly 100% of the lyrics, at least, come from him. So,
and I think that was probably a big part of the decision-making process for them to do solo projects and stuff like that is Glenn felt like I have some things that I want to say, but it doesn't really fit in with this group. And you know, here I want to go say those things. It's not that he was mad at the group, didn't want to be a part of it, but you know, he said at the end of the day, you know, I was too fragile for fame, and now they're touring, and when they tour now, they view it more as like a family outing, family get together rather than work or famous or whatever.
Well, it was a small venue and real intimate last night.
Loved it.
I haven't researched the Charleston Music Hall to see exactly how many it seats, but off the top of my head, I'm going to say 800 to 1,200. Somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good guess.
So it was pretty intimate. And just another side note for the viewers, I got a chance to meet Jim Sonnenfeld from Hootie and the Blowfish, the drummer from Hootie and the Blowfish. He happened to be sitting 3 rows in front of us, and I was the only one of our party that wanted to actually go over and bug him, so I went over and just...
I never had his picture on my wall.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't as familiar with it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what it was. But yeah, I got to go over and shake his hand and thank him for his contributions. And I live in Columbia, South Carolina now, and Hootie and the Blowfish are royalty here in Columbia because this is where they met and started, and they all went to school at the university. I believe all 4 of them were students at the university when they met, and they do a lot of charity work and stuff still in the community, and they're in Columbia a lot. I believe Sony actually still lives in Columbia. I know Darius lives in Charleston some of the time at least, but anyway, that's a different band for a different day, but we did, I got to shake Sony's hand last night at the show. Well, let's talk about this album. So I have this album because you sent it to me as a gift, and I've played it quite a bit since I got it. So tell me how you became aware of it, and then we'll talk a little bit about the album itself, because it's basically an acoustic version of
So I rediscovered Toad, I don't know, probably about 2014. It wasn't that I had forgotten about them, but I just kind of went back to them.
They stepped away for a while.
And then they did a crowd-funded album release in like 2013, I think, New Constellation, and it was an amazing album. I loved it, and so I kind of fell back.
You gave me that one too on CD, by the way. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's some good brother. And so when I heard that album, and then parlayed that with just really falling back in love with the band, that's when I got on like their merch whatever, and they sent me the emails. So once they sent me the email saying that they were coming out with a double acoustic album called Rings, and it was going to be acoustic versions of all these songs and even some new songs, which the new songs are great too. So I said, I got to have one, and then, hey, I love my brother, so I figured I'd send him one too. He kind of got me into vinyl, and so I hadn't had a whole lot of vinyl, and half of my collection came from him. So why not send you one?
Yeah, well, Confessions, the reason why half your collection came from me is because when I go album shopping or come across a stash at a vintage store or something, I can never remember which albums I already have and which ones I don't. So I ended up buying a ton of duplicates, and that ended up forming the basis of your collection.
I hate that for you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've solved the problem since. I made an Excel spreadsheet with my collection on it now. So I have an inventory of the 600 plus albums that I have now, that I have with me at all times, and I can just pull it up on my phone and take a peek now. So you may not get that many going forward, but yeah, you definitely got a big collection.
I got a good start.
Probably brought you 30 or 40 or something like that. Some of it good stuff.
Really good stuff too.
Well, I'm glad you sent me this one. Just refreshing my memory on the order, I know we've both talked about the Transient Whales.
I love
Do
it.
you remember what album that was on originally, or is it new for this
It's
one?
new. Yeah.
I thought it might
It's
be.
a new song. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it might be.
Because it talks about his life as a traveling musician, and of course he and his bandmates are the Transient Whales, but the connections that they make with people through music, and it's just pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a couple. So it is an acoustic album, as you said, but there are a couple of tracks that almost sound bluegrassy.
Yep.
I remember Good Intentions in particular.
Fall Down too.
And Fall Down are very very bluegrassy sounding.
Yep.
Yeah.
They didn't know, and I heard an interview with Glenn about that, and they didn't really know how they were going to do the more driven songs like Fall Down, and do them acoustically. So that's the way that they came up with, was that bluegrassy sound that kept the song moving, didn't slow it down too much, kept the song moving, but still was acoustic.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite track on here is Little Heaven. I told you as soon as I got the album and threw it on the turntable, I think I texted you and told you how glad I was that they included it, because it's been one of the redheaded stepchildren of their catalog for them, and I'll tell you why.
Well, I know why.
Yeah, I know you do.
I know why you liked it too.
Yeah, we're going to discuss it, but
how you even knew about it?
Yeah, so that the viewers can hear. We've had this conversation before, obviously, but that track was part of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie soundtrack, and so when I heard it on that film, I thought, that is an amazing song.
Yep.
But because it was featured in that movie, I think Glenn in particular, and maybe all the guys, it almost seems as if they were a little embarrassed by it, and maybe because the film wasn't that great. The TV series ended up being great, but the film was not great. It was kind of cheesy, and so I think maybe they were a little embarrassed about it and didn't perform it live. And
they didn't perform it live last night either, did they?
No, they didn't. But there's a YouTube video, maybe I can stick a link in the comments, that of Glenn playing it at a wedding just by himself on an acoustic guitar. And he actually gives an intro where he talks about the fact that, hey, I've never played this live before.
There you go. I think I've seen that. Yeah.
And so because they never played it live, I was shocked that they included it on this album. But it is a fantastic song, and I'm glad they included it. But I was a pleasant surprise.
I never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so whenever I heard it on this album, it was me hearing it for the first time.
Oh, it was.
And I'm a Toad fan, and so I had never heard Little Heaven, but that was one of the ones that stuck out to me on this whole double album was Little Heaven, and I was just like, man, this is good. They just keep getting better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Really solid album. What other track maybe stands out to you? You'd heard most of the songs before, but
I'm not really a favorite song kind of guy or a one that stands out. But I mean, I love all of them. Nancy's funny to me. I've always loved Nancy.
That's one that's misunderstood lyrically too.
Yeah. It's very funny.
Yeah.
To me, he changes his mind a couple times.
Yeah. Well, wait, yeah, that one's funny. Jess and I actually had to Google.
Well, if you've got hidden knowledge, you need to share it. Yeah.
We were discussing what the heck he was talking about, and because the lyrics, knowing who they are as people, the lyrics didn't seem to make sense. That they were, talking about, well, I'll take this girl and you take the other one. Well,
But doesn't that happen all the time when you're young and a couple of guys out? Hey man, I want to go out with that one, and then you before you're getting to asking anybody out, you're like, I changed my mind. I think I jive with that one better. Yeah.
Right. Well, that has happened. I know some people that are married that went out on double dates and were with the other person in the date and ended up getting married. So you're absolutely right.
Yep.
And at first listen, that's the lyrics seem to indicate that's kind of the discussion that's going on about two guys on a double date, and they're like, I'll take Nancy, you take Loretta, and then he keeps changing his mind. But what it's actually about is it's a breakup song. The guy's breaking up with his girl, and they're splitting the record collection. You take Nancy, for me, Loretta's fine. Maybe he's talking about Nancy Sinatra and Loretta Lynn. But
they can have them both for all I care.
So they're splitting the record collection up. Yeah, exactly. But I think that's what it is. He stated that it's a breakup song. We're going to go our separate ways, and I'm going to take these albums, and you're going to take these. Which reminds me of that really funny scene in that movie St. Elmo's Fire, where the Ali Sheedy character and her boyfriend, Judd Nelson, I believe. Yeah. So the Ali Sheedy character and the Judd Nelson character are breaking up, and they're doing the same thing. They're kind of fighting over who's going to take what records.
Yeah.
And he adamantly says no Springsteen is leaving this house, and you can have all the Billy Joels except The Stranger. And I have to echo that. The Stranger is by far Billy Joel's best album. He's got a lot of other great ones, but Stranger's the class act. Well, I think we've covered this album. We've covered the show. We've had a great chat.
Yep.
And
it's been fun.
I appreciate you coming on the show and visiting. And next time we have a concert schedule that we're gonna go to, then we'll be sure to do this again.
What, September for James Taylor?
September, James Taylor, right here in Columbia. You're right. So we may have to have a sequel to this episode where we'll talk about JT and that show.
I'm down.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. Well, thanks for watching this week, and I hope you enjoyed the little bit different format and enjoyed having my little brother Matt chatting a little bit, so you don't have to listen to me talk the entire time. And we'll see you next week.
See ya.